Hello, welcome back to Andrea Fontana Beauty and a new month of clean out the fridge dinners. It is February and I just want to do a little intro before we get started with tonight's dinner that I don't really know what it's going to be. I mean, I have some things. I have a very bare bones plan, but we'll see what happens with it. I don't really know what I'm going to do. This is now my third month of doing these. You guys seem to be really liking them, so I'm excited to keep, just showing you what I make. None of these are pre-planned. If you've never seen one of these videos before, basically I film every night during the month that I am creating a random dinner out of things that are in the fridge that I'm trying to clean out. So let me actually grab all the stuff that I have that I want to use up and like where I think this is gonna go, and then we'll see what happens. So currently what I have in the fridge, I have some tomato sauce that I made last week, and this is some like hot Italian sausage that I made for sandwiches last week. So I think we're gonna use these. I also have half an onion that I need to use up, so we can dice that. This is a tiny little bit of ground beef that I made these little like taco cups with last night. It's like ground beef and taco seasoning and chilies, green chilies. So, I mean, it's so little, might as well throw it into the mix. Got some garlic. I also have this jar of orzo. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we cut up the onion, saute that with garlic, add all of the meats and sauces, maybe a little bit of chicken broth, the orzo, and then we make just like, I don't know, a cozy little saucy pasta situation. Then I have a cucumber and I have a yellow pepper and an orange pepper, but I think I'm gonna save the orange one for a different meal. But I think I'm gonna make like a little quick salad with this. So that's what I think we're gonna do. Maybe add some Greek yogurt or something for a little bit of creaminess to the pasta. Definitely, actually probably gonna do that to add a little extra protein too. And let's get started. Let's see where this goes. All right, always using my Staub braising pan because it's my favorite thing ever. We are going to start by heating this guy up, not adding my oil until it's hot. So right over here, I'm just gonna be doing a little dicing, but I'll tell you guys what I do. So now that this is hot, I'm gonna add just a little, like a tablespoon of olive oil. Add in those onions. I'm also going to add, I have some pre-minced garlic. So I'm gonna add that as well. And just quickly give this a little saute. Just until our garlic is fragrant and our onions are softening. I'm also going to add a generous pinch of kosher salt and some fresh black pepper. I'm also adding I'm going to add a can of cannellini beans to this, I think, to up the protein, and I got out some chicken broth to use as my liquid. But now what I'm going to do is add in our taco meat, our sausage, all that sauce. Actually, you know what, guys? Totally taking some of this back out. I'm gonna save just like, I'm only gonna use half that sauce. because I can totally use this later in the week for something. I can use it for tomorrow. So we're actually gonna save that. Okay. So let's get that mixed together. Now I'm gonna add, let's see. Normally I would not measure this, but since I'm sharing it with you guys, I will. Let's see what a cup of chicken broth looks like. We're gonna do 2 cups because I'm gonna add orzo and that's gonna soak up a lot. So right now I have this on medium high. We're gonna let that come to a boil, and then I lied. Before we let that come to a boil, we're gonna add our cannellini beans. I am going to drain and rinse these though. Okay, so I'm also gonna add one 15.5 ounce can of cannellinis. Ignore my fridge. Right, so now we're gonna let that come to a simmer. In the meantime, right here, I'm gonna chop up this pepper. All right, so now that this is simmering pretty well, we're going to take our orzo, add it in, give it a good stir, and we're gonna stir that every couple minutes to make sure that nothing is sticking. I cut my cucumbers how I always cut them. In these little half moon semicircles. See, it's already trying to stick, so I'm actually going to turn this down so that cooks nicely. Let's dress this salad. Olive oil, red wine vinegar, fresh cracked black pepper, kosher salt, heavy on the oregano, since I'm out of onions, let's do a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder. Stir this up. Delish. Get a clean spoon so that I can taste the sauce, but also how well done the orzo is right now. Yum. I'm gonna turn this down even more. It tastes so good. You can't even tell that I put taco meat in there because there was so much more of the other like Italian flavors. Every time I stir it, it's getting a little bit thicker. Orzo is one of those things that doesn't look like a lot, but then it really soaks up liquid and turns into a whole lot. So you need more liquid than you think. A couple more minutes. I grabbed some plain Greek yogurt and the last of this little Parmesan cheese to mix in at the end. This is gonna be so good. I get 2 salad bowls. All right, let's do another taste test. It feels like it's 7 p.m. and it's 3:42 p.m. Why? Probably because I'm tired, but it feels so late. It's not sunny. This is what winter is in Michigan. If I could recommend one piece of Staub equipment to get, it's this brazier. It's the freaking best. I use it almost every day. Her name is Martha. Still needs a couple more minutes, but what I think we're gonna do is we're actually going to add like, I don't know, 3 healthy dollops. It's maybe like a 1/4 cup, probably like 1/2 cup. This is just exactly what I want on a day when I'm tired and it's cold out. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of water because it just needs a little more liquid. Once that's absorbed in a little bit, it's gonna be done. This is besides the point, but guys, look at this. I'm just making myself a snack while I wait these 2 minutes. This is capicola that my dad made, and I like to eat a couple slices as a snack sometimes. It's so good. Time to serve it up. All right, here's the finished product. It's kind of like a soupy stew situation. Here's mine with the Parmesan cheese on top. And then our salads. This is gonna be so good. All right, I will see you guys in the next meal. Hello everybody and welcome to the second meal. Today we are making a sun-dried tomato mac and cheese. This ended up being so unbelievably delicious and a nice change from a mac and cheese that I make all the time. As you can see, I am starting by melting a couple tablespoons of butter, and then I also just grabbed in that little bowl a couple tablespoons of flour. I'm adding some garlic paste to this to give a little extra flavor, and then dumping a large, maybe like half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes from the can. They look pretty solid because they were in my fridge. That's why the oil looks a little weird, but I'm just sauteing all this together while the butter melts, warming up those sun-dried tomatoes. And then I'm going to add the flour in because we're going to start this sauce with a roux. This is how I like to make all of my mac and cheese sauces. So once that flour is cooked for a little bit, you're going to add some milk. I used whole milk in this case because that's what I had in the fridge, but you can definitely use any type of milk that you want. And we're going to slowly let this heat up and it'll start to thicken. As you can see, every time I stir it, it gets a little thicker. That steam that you're seeing is out of frame. I have a pound of mini farfalle bow tie pasta that's cooking. So that's what's going on over there. I also had a ton of Mexican cheese. So that's what I use for this mac and cheese. And that's what you see me adding here. Now that that milk has thickened in there, I'm going to melt that cheese. As you can see, it's becoming very luxurious and delicious. It's very hard not to just like play with the cheese. And I decided that the sauce was a little thicker than I wanted, so you can see me here adding little bits of pasta water because it's starchy to thin it out. So I keep adding a little bit here and there. I'm adding a little bit of kosher salt there. And again, here is that extra bit of pasta water to just thin the sauce a little bit out. But because it has that starch from the pasta, it still will keep the sauce nice and saucy. It's not going to like get a weird texture. So we're just getting that sauce to where we want it. I love to add a couple dashes. This is Cholula in this case, but your favorite hot sauce always works. That's nice to add a little bit of extra flavor to your mac and cheese. Sometimes I add mustard, but in this case, I just did the hot sauce. And now that my pasta is cooked, you're gonna see me start adding that in. I didn't want to drain it. You can either drain it and reserve some of the pasta water, but sometimes I like to do it this way where I just transfer the pasta to the plate because I wanted to make sure that I still had a little bit of pasta water. So you can see that I dumped a little bit in there. But I'm just mixing this all up to make sure that I have a nice sauce coating all the pasta. You can adjust it with that pasta water to make sure you have the right thickness. And now I'm going to serve it up in a bowl and show you how delicious this was. Yum. All right, here we are at the third meal. This is going to be a really great salad. I will die on the hill with a strong, strong belief that if you don't like salads, it's because you don't know how to make a good salad. Take that as you will, but I think it's true. I make big, hearty salads for dinner all the time. They can be filling. You just have to make sure that you put enough protein and fats and healthy things in it. So this salad is starting with a English cucumber that you can see that I cut into my standard half circle, semicircle shape. So I added that to the salad bowl. Now I am cutting up some iceberg lettuce. You can see I hit the iceberg lettuce right there. That helps kind of remove the core a little bit. So I am just going to cut this up. Give it a good small rough chop.
Also try chopping your salads up very small. All the ingredients very small. I think that makes them so much better. So try that if you're struggling to eat your salads. So I'm saving the rest of this iceberg because I didn't eat it all for later. Now I have some green peppers that were in the fridge that I just threw in there. And then here I am going to do a fine dice on this red onion. I love red onion in a salad. Red onion and green onions are my favorite to put in a salad, but I always have to have some sort of onion in there. So I think I only used, half the red onion for this salad. So we'll save the other half for something else. I'm adding a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. Just drained those and then added those in. And then this is the fun magic. I love to keep a can of marinated artichoke hearts in my pantry. So I just dumped that whole thing in there, liquid and all. And now I'm actually using the jar to make my salad dressing so that I get all the flavor out. So that's red wine vinegar, olive oil, kosher salt, pepper, oregano. My usual. I think I added garlic powder and onion powder as well, or maybe just garlic powder. And then I shake that up, get everything out, and toss the whole thing together. I think I was thinking of adding that bell pepper and then decided that the green bell peppers were enough. Always taste for seasoning. And that is the salad. Okay, so I'm starting this meal in my little mini cast iron pan with some green peppers, green onions, well, the whites of the green onions, salt, pepper, and paprika. I love paprika with eggs, so I mix that all together. I'm just going to saute this a little bit. I don't want to cook it all the way because we're going to cook this casserole bake in the oven. It's going to be a breakfast casserole. So that I'm just going to set aside. This sausage that was on sale for super cheap at the store was the inspiration behind this meal because my husband, whose family owns a breakfast restaurant, came home with a big container of already cooked leftover potatoes that just didn't get used on a Sunday. And so instead of them going to the waste, he brought them home, and that's where this breakfast casserole kind of came from. So I am sauteing and browning up this breakfast sausage. I like to kind of let it sit and get really nice and crispy on different sides and then break it up a little bit and kind of repeat the process. And that's going to brown while I do my eggs. So in here, I'm cracking, I want to say it was 10 eggs, probably. That's usually the amount that I use for a regular sized casserole. So in between, I'm breaking up some of those brown bits and making sure everything is cooking evenly. And then we go back to adding a little bit of half and half to my eggs, and then more of that paprika because I love that. Salt and pepper always. And then we're going to whisk all of that up together, get it nice and fluffy. We're going to finish cooking off that sausage. So I'm spraying my casserole dish here. And those are the potatoes that I was talking about, and I'm going to show me starting to layer them. So sprayed the bottom. Now I'm doing a layer of those potatoes that have already been cooked. So this is just going to warm them up in the oven. We're going to add all of my sausage on top. Don't forget to get all the little brown bits that are in the cast iron pan. That's where the good flavor is. Now I'm going to layer on those cooked peppers and onions. I'm adding the slightest bit of mozzarella cheese because my husband doesn't like cheese. So I'm just putting a tiny bit in because I had some to use up. But I would normally, if it was just for me, add a lot more cheese. So you can definitely do that. Then I'm pouring this egg mixture on top. If it looks like you don't have enough eggs will always puff up and fill up more. So don't overflow. And then that was the greens of the green onions that I added. So here is the finished product. This is the egg bake. It was so delicious. We loved it. We ate it up real quick. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in next month's. Bye.